I'm about to reveal 6 different budgeting methods that I have personally tested over the years, and I can tell you which ones work the best. Now, most people tend to struggle with budgeting because they are using the wrong budgeting approach for their personality and their lifestyle. But here's what I've discovered after years of real-world testing. One of these methods helped me to save an extra $15,000 in just 1 year, and it's probably not the one that you're using right now. The secret isn't finding the perfect budget that works for everyone. It's finding the method that clicks with how your brain actually works with money. Today, I'm going to break down all 6 methods so you can finally discover the one that will transform your finances. What's up, everybody? I'm Rashida, and I'm your guide to smart money moves. From the age of 17, I was able to grow my portfolio into 6 figures, and I did this all on a police officer's income. So now I'm on a mission to show you how you can get there too. So let's go. You know what's crazy is that most people think that budgeting is this boring, restrictive thing that really just sucks the joy out of life. And I used to think that too. But eventually I realized something that completely changed my perspective. Budgeting is not about limiting your life. It's about creating freedom. And so today, as we dive into all 6 of these methods, I'm going to show you exactly how each one performed. So whether you're trying to build that emergency fund, save for retirement, or just figure out where your money disappears to each month, I promise that you will find an approach that clicks with your life. All right, so let's get into it. Now, first up is zero-based budgeting. Now, I know what you're thinking, zero-based budgeting. Doesn't that sound complicated and intimidating? But here's the thing, it's actually super simple. The core idea is that every single dollar gets a job. So with this one, you want to think of your money like employees. Would you hire people and then have no idea what they're supposed to be doing all day? Of course not. And so why do we do that with our dollars? And so here's how you use zero-based. First, write down all of my income for the month, every single penny. Then comes the important part. I assign every single dollar to a specific category. I like to start with savings and investing. Then I hit what I call the 4 walls. That is food, utilities, housing, and transportation. And so let me tell you a quick story about this one. When I first tried this method, I was shocked. I discovered that I had been wasting over $400 a month on random stuff that I couldn't even remember buying. Any of y'all guilty of that? It's like the money just evaporates, right? But by giving every single dollar a purpose, that money started working for me instead of just disappearing. You decide where the money is going to go before the month even begins. Not your impulses, not your habits, you. And I don't want to sugarcoat it because this method right here is going to take more time than others. You're going to need to track expenses and adjust regularly. But for me, this hands-on approach was exactly what I needed to break some of my bad money habits. My friend Janae was living paycheck to paycheck on a $70,000 salary. She could not figure out where her money was going. So I suggested zero-based budgeting to her. And within 3 months, she has saved her first $1,000 emergency fund, something that she had never been able to do in years. And I know you may be thinking, Rashida, that sounds like a lot of work, but don't worry, because I've got something a little more simple coming up next. Now, before we get into our second method, please take a second, see if you have subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't, please take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss out on any of my future content. I'm here every single week to help you better understand the world of money and to help you figure out how to turn your income into real wealth. So do me that favor. All right, let's get on to our second one. All right, now our second method is the 50-30-20 rule. Now, if the first method sounds too intense for you, I hear you. Let's take a look at this one. Have you ever wished that you could just have a simple formula for your money? Well, I'm telling you, this one is it. This approach is going to break your after-tax income into just 3 categories. 50% is going to go directly to your needs. So that's going to be things like housing, food, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments, the must-haves. 30% is going to go to the things that you want. So dining out, entertainment, shopping, all the fun stuff. And yes, your daily latte can be in that budget. You don't have to cut that out if that's something that brings you joy. And that remaining 20% is going to go to your savings and investing, or paying off debt beyond the minimum payments. When I started out as a young officer, this method was a lifesaver because I didn't have time for all the detailed tracking, but I knew that I still needed structure. And so the beauty of 50-30-20 is its simplicity. 3 categories, that's it. But here's the catch. These percentages may not work for everyone. So if you're someone that lives in a high cost of living area like a San Francisco or New York, housing may literally eat up more than 50% of your income. So you may have to adjust these figures. Your first category may be 70%, all right, that goes towards needs. Or if you're someone that's drowning in debt, you may need to temporarily push more money toward that 20% category. And so let me share another story with you. My cousin tried this method for over 3 months, but she found that she was spending 65% on just her needs. But with that information, she decided to make a very bold move. She relocated to a less expensive apartment, which dropped her needs to only 52% of her income. And making that small change allowed her to start finally building up her savings. And so I've got a quick question for you guys. Do you know what percentage of your income goes to needs right now? If you don't, actually do the work to figure that out, because most people have no idea, and that's the problem that we're solving today. Now, the 50-30-20 rule isn't perfect, but it is an excellent starting point, especially if you're new to budgeting or you feel very overwhelmed by tracking a bunch of different categories. Now, what if you're someone that struggles with impulse spending? This next method might be perfect for you. Now, let's talk about something that might seem very old school, but it is incredibly effective. And that is the envelope system. This method right here can literally change your relationship with money. Why? It's because it makes your spending physical again. Because think about it, in a world of tap to pay, swiping cards, and online shopping, we have lost the feeling of spending. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to swipe a card than handing over that cash? It's because there's actually psychology behind this. When we use physical cash, we feel the pain of spending a lot more than when we swipe a card or click a buy button online. And so here is how the envelope system works. You create a budget for all of your variable expenses. So things like groceries, gas, entertainment, eating out. Then you get cash for each one of these categories and place it in those labeled envelopes. And so when you're shopping, you are only going to use cash from the appropriate envelope. And here's the magic. When that envelope is empty, that is it. There is no more spending in that category until the next month. I remember putting $300 in my grocery envelope for the month. And I remember one time by week 3, I only had $40 left in that envelope. So that meant I had to get creative with meal planning. I could not exceed that budget. And so it forced me to make some tough decisions. And it taught me that I had been carelessly overspending on groceries without realizing it. Now, when it comes to this method, I know a lot of you are thinking, Rashida, who uses cash anymore? And you're right, this method definitely has challenges in our digital world. And it's not really going to be ideal for your fixed expenses like rent or online purchases. But if you can use this for just a few problem spending areas, it can make a huge difference. I have a buddy who tried the envelope system for dining and entertainment only. And within his first month, he said that he saved over $400 just by implementing this. And while it has been a long time since I've tried this method, there is an entire movement of cash envelope stuffing people out there. If you do not believe me, as soon as this video is over, put it in YouTube. Cash stuffing, envelope stuffing. There is an entire movement of this that really helps people to make their spending physical again. Check it out if you don't believe me. And so if you know that you're someone that tends to overspend without realizing it, this tangible approach might be just the exact thing you need. Hey guys, just a quick note here. In today's complex financial world, making smart decisions with your money has never been more important. That's why I've teamed up with money.com Money.com. They are my trusted guide to financial clarity. Money.com's mission is simple. It's to help you become financially smarter through research-backed recommendations on everything from a high-yield savings account that actually helps you to grow your money to things like insurance rates that won't break the bank. Their expert team does a phenomenal job just cutting through all of the noise to bring you honest, actionable advice that works for real people, not just the financial pros. So check out any of the links in my description to see how Money.com can help you transform your financial future, because when it comes to your money, knowledge truly is power. All right, let's get back to our video. Now, let's flip traditional budgeting on its head with one of my personal favorite methods: pay yourself first. Now, here's a question for you all. When you get paid, who gets your money first? Your landlord, the electric company, grocery store, credit card bill? Most people are doing their budget backward because they're paying all of their bills, they spend whatever they want, and then they try to save what is left, which is usually nothing or very little. But what if you reversed that process? With Pay Yourself First, you prioritize saving before addressing any other expenses. And so here's my approach to this one. As soon as my paycheck hits that account, money automatically transfers to my savings and my investment accounts. This way, my future self is taken care of before I can spend a dime on anything else. Then I live on what remains for my expenses. Now, when I first started this method, I would set aside 10% of my income, but as I got more comfortable, I gradually increased it. And eventually I reached the point where I'm saving 35% of my income without feeling deprived. I'm telling you, this approach is going to ensure that saving becomes non-negotiable. It's not something you do if money is left over. It's the first thing you do. Now, the beauty of Pay Yourself First is that it is simple. Once you get your system set up, that's it. No tracking dozens of categories, no guilt over purchases, because as long as your savings are handled and you can cover your necessities, the rest is up to you with how you spend it. It's awesome. Now, one of our community members, Sean, told me that he tried this approach when he was 45 and worried about his retirement savings. He started by automatically saving and investing just 5% of his income, and he said he didn't really feel the pinch too badly. So every 6 months, he decided to increase that savings rate by 1%. And now fast forward 10 years later, he is saving 25% of his income, and he has built a substantial retirement fund, something he never thought was possible. And so that is the power in having an automated system. And so if you're someone that is struggling to save consistently, this method right here could really be the game changer that you need, I'm telling you. Now, what if you are just starting with budgeting and you want something that is super simple? This method is going to be perfect for you, because sometimes the simplest approaches are the most powerful. And that is going to bring us to the 10% rule, one of the oldest budgeting methods around. Now, this concept is incredibly straightforward. You are going to save 10% of your gross income. That's it. No complicated categories, no detailed tracking, just one simple number. And here's how you're going to implement this system. I'm going to calculate 10% of my gross monthly income, so that's before taxes. And then I'm going to set up automatic transfers so that this happens without me having to think about it. Then I'm going to just use that remaining 90% on living expenses and fun. Now, before I even became a police officer, this was the method that I used to get me rolling on my financial journey. I wasn't making much money, but I was committed to that 10%. And that simple habit built the foundation for everything else. The power of this method isn't in the complexity, it is in the consistency. That 10% adds up over time, especially when you are investing it wisely. Let me share a story with you about one of my uncles. He said that he never earned more than $50,000 a year, but he faithfully saved 10% of his income. And he did this over a 40-year period. And when he hit retirement, he had over $1 million saved thanks to the magic of compound interest. And now I know that 10% is not going to be enough for everyone, and probably not if you're starting late or if you have ambitious goals, but it's a solid foundation that anyone can build on. And so if you are someone that has never budgeted before, or if the other methods seem overwhelming, Start here. Save 10%, make it automatic, and gradually increase as you get more comfortable. And every time you get a raise from your employer, or every time you switch jobs and you're making more money, make sure you take your savings rate up right along with those pay raises. Now, for our final method, we are going to travel to Japan for a completely different approach to thinking about money. Now, our final method comes from Japan, and it is called Kakeibo. Now, the Japanese have an average savings rate of 30% of their income. That's average. So they know a thing or two about how to budget and save money. So let's take a look at this approach because it's pretty awesome. Now, this method is a lot less strict about rules and enforcement, and it's more about mindfulness and reflection. Kakeibo involves keeping a journal of all of your expenses and then categorizing them into 4 different groups. The needs category is going to be essentials like food and housing. Wants are going to be your non-essential purchases like dining out. The next category is going to be culture. So that's going to be spending devoted to books, museum, shows, education. And then the last category is going to be your unexpected expenses like gifts, repairs, medical bills, emergencies, things of that nature. And throughout the month, you're going to record every purchase. Yes, every single purchase. And at the end of the month, you are going to sit down and reflect on your spending and look for ways to improve. Now, when I tried Kakeibo at one point, I was very skeptical because writing down every single purchase seemed very tedious. But something very remarkable happened. The simple act of recording my spending made me a lot more conscious of each purchase that I was making. And so very quickly, I noticed I was asking myself questions like, is this a need or a want, or will this truly add value to my life? And so this method is really good if you're someone that wants to create a deep awareness of your spending habits. This is not just about tracking. This is about understanding your relationship with money. Now, the person that actually introduced this method to me was someone that really struggled with emotional spending after her divorce. And she said that Kakeibo was really instrumental in helping her see the connection between her feelings and her purchases. And so over time, this helped her to develop healthier coping mechanisms, and she was able to save $4,000 in a period of 6 months. Now, the downside to this one is pretty obvious. It's going to require consistent daily journaling, which could be challenging for some people to maintain. But for anybody that really enjoys journaling, that really likes to have that reflection, that doesn't mind writing, it can transform not just your finances, but your entire relationship with money. And so let me know which one of these methods resonates with you the most. Let me know in the comment section. I read all the comments and I want to know how you guys are feeling about these. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, which method performed the best for me in my years of experimenting? The answer is, it wasn't just one method. It was a combination of 3. And so let me break down what I discovered worked best for different situations. If you want complete control and you don't mind detailed tracking, zero-based budgeting offers the most comprehensive approach. This one works wonders for people who can't figure out where their money is going. If you're someone that is just getting started with budgeting, or you haven't budgeted in a really long time, the 50-30-20 rule or the 10% rule provides simple frameworks that you can follow and get started right away. And a lot of people find that the 50-30-20 is really eye-opening in understanding their spending patterns. If overspending is your challenge, the envelope system creates those tangible boundaries that can help you stay on track. And this one is no doubt a game changer if you are someone that finds it really hard to resist impulse purchases. If you are someone that is focused on building wealth for the future, pay yourself first ensures that your long-term goals are going to take precedence over everything else. And if you're someone that is looking to develop that more conscious or mindful relationship with money, Kakeibo encourages reflection and intentionality. Now, here are the elements that I like to combine. Now, for many years, I used the pay yourself first for my savings and investing, and then I would use the zero-based budgeting for my remaining expenses. But nowadays, I just stick to the 50-30-20 method because it is just so easy to stick to, and because I have everything set up on autopilot. Now, your financial journey is yours. It's going to be unique to you, and your budgeting approach should be tailored to your specific situation, personality, and journey. And so drop me a comment. Let me know which one of these budgeting methods you are interested in trying out. Now, we've covered 6 very powerful budgeting methods today, each with their own strengths. So whether you're someone that prefers the detailed tracking, the simple guidelines, or the mindful reflection, there is an approach that can help you reach your financial goals. The most important thing is to pick one and get started. You gotta take action, all right? Now, if you found this video helpful, do me a quick favor. Please share this video with 3 friends, hit the like button, and if you were still here at this point in the video, drop me a fire emoji down in the comment section. We are going to be on our budgeting game hard. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's been a pleasure. Again, I'm Rashida, and I'm out.